So we have with me today Godliving Maro, who is an alumnus of our CPQFRM program, that is the certificate program in quantitative finance and risk management. He's a very dear student. He's also the head of risk at National Bank of Commerce, Tanzania. I'm really, really glad to have you with us today, Maro. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Nitish.
Yes, thanks for joining once again. And so from today, we'd like to hear from you about the certificate program in quantitative finance and risk management course that you did with us. So first of all, before going into the course, if you can guide us a little bit about yourself, a brief about you.
Thank you, Nitish. I am, as you had indicated earlier, I am the chief risk officer for National Bank of Commerce. The terms can also be used interchangeably between CRO and head of risk, are almost the same. I have basically spent 17 years in the risk world, focusing on all the risk. You say it: operational risk, market risk, credit risk, reputational risk, and even the compliance risk. So I've covered, as a CRO, you cover all those. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Right. Much for the brief. So now if you can brief us about the course of QFRM that you did with us, and also if you can throw some light on why you choose this course.
So one thing that made me choose this course was the fact that it was live and where you could interact with those individuals who are actually on the field, because risk can turn out to be very theoretical. So unlike other courses that I have attended in the past, for the first time I had an opportunity to interact with trainers who are actually practitioners. And I think since the day I attended the training, my understanding for risk had also did change significantly because of that element of practice.
Wonderful. 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 Yeah. And would you like to elaborate a little bit more on your experience with us at IIQF on the course, on overall things?
Yes, it was a unique experience, because also remember, the students are drawn from different localities. So you have an opportunity to interact with other individuals who are practicing risk, let's say from Poland, England, India.
Absolutely.
All of them sharing with you a different experience. And the idea that you then pick some of those best experience and implement them in your area of local. I think one of the items that I remember is the fact that I was able to understand a new term called integrated risk management, where you can now see an implication of one risk on other risk quantitatively. That was not an area where I had understood in the past, but through this interaction, was easier for me to have to bring that coordination in risk management, especially the use of terminology like scenario analysis, stress testing, bring them all together to inform you probably on the amount of capital you may require in the cause a particular incident occur. Those specifics were made aware to me clearly during the training.
Wonderful, wonderful. And would you like to add anything about the faculty who taught you during the course?
Yes, all of the trainers were practitioners, I had indicated earlier. I remember there were trainers from the banks like Yes Bank. I think there was the trainer was teaching us quantitative finance, was actually handling quantitative in, I think, one of the biggest banks. Had also worked with Barclays, HSBC, which for me, you will then pick the best practices from those big banks, put in that way. And actually the trainers were not theoretical. The trainers were very practical.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So glad that you had a good experience with us. Thank you so much.
So,
Finally,
like for future aspirants
if you can,
who want to enter
since
into this
coming from
field,
you, this would be very
maybe a little
important
bit
for
what you
future
will recommend and
aspirants
your
who wants
suggestions
to
for
enter
them.
into this risk management or the quant domain. So if
So,
you
like
can
for future
maybe give
aspirants
your
who want
recommendation
to
and
enter into
suggestions
this
for
field,
those aspiring to enter
maybe
into
a
this
little
field.
bit.
So, Nitish, the course contains all what you need in risk management, and there were some other additions that we were taught, especially on the quant by using coding. Coding is a new skill. We were taught on how to use Pythons, and Pythons will then help you process a mega data. Some of those skills are currently is what we are applying in the workspace. So ideally, what I am currently doing, especially for the aspiring risk managers, is to at least advise them to work with your institution, because in that way they will then acquire the best knowledge. One advantage that you have, Nitish, is the fact that you draw students from different countries, from different working institutions. So interacting, when the students interact themselves, they share experience, practical experience, which is critical.
Absolutely.
There's a difference between you getting from a book, reading on your own or being taught in class, and having a student working, let's say for HSBC, telling you, when I'm doing, let's say, risk assessment, I use the following method. Those conversations are value add that you have in the theory on the ground.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So once again, thank you so much for joining us, Maro, and we are really glad that you have liked the course and you have found it useful, and really appreciate you sharing your thoughts and feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nitish. Thank you, Nitish. And I'll always be there in case of any ongoing training or support. I'll be there for you for the institution.
Absolutely. Always look forward to keep in touch with you. Always a pleasure. Thank you.